In the previous verses, Jesus has just mic dropped on a group of Pharisees and Sadducees that have been asking questions with less than honest intent. And then Jesus and his disciples have crossed the Sea of Galilee again when they notice they forgot lunch. Jesus then responds to their lack of bread with a parable-like warning against the Pharisees and the Sadducees. The disciples begin to discuss it among themselves, saying, "But we have no bread." Clueless, confused. And Jesus straightens them out. Jesus is aware of their discussion. And so he interrupts them and says, "O ye of little faith, do you not remember how I provided bread for thousands?" In a microcosm of the Lord's interaction with the people of Israel in the wilderness, Jesus points out that he has provided bread over and over again, but that's not the point. The point is that he's calling his people to greater faith, greater understanding, and greater obedience to the true and living God. Jesus is honestly shocked that they think he's still talking about the leaven of bread and that they're worried about how they're going to eat. Instead, he repeats his warning and he says, "Beware the leaven of the Pharisees and the Sadducees." In almost comical clarity, Matthew then reveals that it was only then that they understood that Jesus wasn't worried about the leaven of bread, but rather the teaching of the Pharisees and Sadducees. In some ways, the disciples are so much like us. This is a clear demonstration of where we can go wrong, worried more about whether or not we have enough food when God has promised and regularly showed us his daily provision. And because God has all those details figured out, he expects us to be concerned about rightly worshiping him, being able to identify true and good teaching. It's critical, too, that we recognize the nature of the metaphor, this idea of leaven. It's a little leaven that changes the whole lump. And so the leaven of the Pharisees and Sadducees is that they're totally wrong in their teaching. It's that they're a little wrong. And it's that little bit of error that wrecks the whole thing. It reminds me a little bit of Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, who was the first king of Israel after the kingdoms divided. He set up the golden calves for Israel to worship, but he told them that they were still worshiping Yahweh, the God who had brought them out of Egypt. But it was this little bit of error associating the right God with the wrong idols that corrupted all of Israel's worship. And so Jesus reminds his disciples to beware the leaven of the Pharisees and the Sadducees, not to let a little bit of false teaching wreck the whole truth, while at the same time Jesus is completely aware of and able to provide for all our physical needs. So let's rejoice in Christ and in his clear teaching. Let's meditate on his word that we might beware the leaven of the Pharisees and the Sadducees. And I hope you'll join me next time.